Welcome to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McClear, we are back. Right, had to take that 1 week off. Had some prior engagements that we had to attend to, and now we are back. And what a weekend to have, or to actually come back from, right? Father's Day. Hopefully everybody had a good Father's Day out there. All right, and hopefully everybody celebrated very well, responsibly, of course, sure. And was able to go out golfing. Unfortunately, I was not, but hey, it is what it is. We do the In the Drawers golf talk because old club fitters and club makers are tremendous pack rats, and I am one of them. And we've turned this into a a round the world kind of golf talk where we talk about repairs, fittings, opinions, whatever we want to talk about golf related. So let's get started. Number one, normally what we talk about first off is the stuff that I'm building. However, what I want to first start off is this is something for all you guys to see. This is what we did this weekend. So, yep, that's what we did this weekend. Did a brisket on the Rec Tech. It was very, very well done. So what did I really do? Well, number one is I worked on a set of Callaway MBs. All right, these are the year older than that. This will be the video for this week on that build. We put in that golf shaft, and we used those grips. And what that was for a guy that was local in Columbus. It's about an hour away. Fairly strong golfer, and wanted to try it out. And we talk about the pitfalls and the pluses and all that stuff about building this set. So it's something to see. And if you notice, they were left-handed. So I really get a shot at these. Some other stuff, I just wanted to show you this, a little Golf Pride love with the new colors, right? This was a new color that went off pretty well. That went for a repeat for a young golfer. That turned out pretty good. And we made a Mizuno STX driver. That's the draw bias model. There's the top of it. Turns out it's a good looking little driver. Again, with a little bit of Golf Pride and Acra. And you see that 372T at the bottom. I'm told that particular model is going away. Now, the I-Series isn't going away, but just that one, which was a kind of a 72-gram reinforced lower end for those guys just with the hard releases at the bottom. So that's where that's at. I also spent most of Father's Day doing that. So what is that, right? What is that? Let's see if I can make this work. That. And there we go. And what those are the old connectors that are leaving for the new connectors. And we've already seen the video on it. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it was time for KBS to get the connectors. I was trying to wait, and we'll talk about why I was trying to wait. But anyway, the connectors are right there, and they worked out pretty good. I was also able to put on the new shaft ones. There we go. These go on the wood shafts, and that means I can, and that was the Acra models. You know about those. I'm really digging on these FX3s. They're really quite nice. And anyway, I'm able to, if there's an adapter that goes on it, I can probably put a head to it now. So not too bad. Anyway, got those done. So I did somewhere around 25 different shafts, and only 3 or 4 did not make the cut. The rest of them, if you see them over here, see where that big hole is right there? Those are the ones that passed with the grip, something like this guy. And the rest of them I needed to put grips on because I had to recheck the frequency, the flex, make sure everything was working fine. And this whole opening here will be refilled in about a day, right? And then we'll be back there. Now I've got to go down here and do the same thing to the I-Series for the Acra and the graphite. and those guys right there too. So that we got a lot of work ahead of us, but we're slowly but surely turning it over. Now, why did I tell about that earlier? Well, because the OEMs, if it's not a surprise that there's a big delay in a lot of supply chains out there, right? From vehicles, if you want to buy a 2x4, it's tripled in price, and there's been a significant delay in getting a lot of golf equipment to the shop, and not so much, say, for a Callaway's been kind of caught up. They were behind initially, and they've caught up just opposite, where all the rest of the companies were caught up, and now they're behind. And in particularly Mizuno, we do quite a bit with Mizuno, but their delay is just so far out, and it's give and take. So I've made the game call to let's get all the shafts converted over, and when they decide to send me some more demo heads to convert over, then we'll put them back into the system. So for right now, it's Srixon, some Wilson, Callaway, and then we'll talk some. I have enough shafts to quasi-fit, but it's not what I'd like to do, but I can't keep waiting. And so that's what we're doing there. And so that worked out pretty good. Another announcement is, Joe, you'll like this one. This is for you, but we now have these. Right? And for those guys that don't know what those are, voila. We now have the divot tool. It's a divot tool that has the ball marker and the pencil sharpener. So we've got one of that. They come in, we got one in green that's gray on the inside. We've got one in red and white on the inside. We've got one that is gray on the outside with green inside there. And then finally, the old traditional black, and with that in the inside. So we got plenty of those. The guys from Pitch Fix did a very good job of setting us up. We like the divot tools are very, very sturdy. I mean, they almost are almost squishy, but they're very, very sturdy. They're very heavy. Has the magnet on that side, and if you see that little bevel down at the bottom, that's just so you can push down and pull out like that, so you don't have to worry about it. We tested all these. They tend to work very, very well. So we did that. Right. Bang, right? And then I haven't sharpened any pencils yet, but I'm assuming that it's going to work very, very well. So if you're interested in something like that, there it is. Send Mrs. McGolf a note, mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com, and we are on our way, right? One other thing, and if you guys haven't been watching the Facebook feed or my Instagram or anything like that, it's one of these. Let me get you to this. Golf Digest, America's Best Club Fitters 2021. There we are. There we are, right? We made it again. 6 times in a row. We're getting into an elite class. So it's in this. It's in that magazine. And it starts out with that, where to get fit, and we're in that listing somewhere. And there's some really good articles in there. If you guys are James Bond fans, there's talks about James Bond and all the folks that golfed with Sean Connery when they were doing their movie making. Very, very good. So we're very, very honored. We thank Golf Digest very much for allowing us to be even considered, which is a good thing. And so we're really proud of that. It's something to really strive for, to be honest. All right. Last but not least, anybody watch the U.S. Open? All right. And I was watching scores, and I was coming back in between. I thought, oh, okay, well, with the top 3 guys, I thought, well, maybe Colin Morikawa might make a run at it. There's a couple guys at -2. I thought even Bryson had a shot at getting after it if he just golfed like he did the time before. And what happens? Out of nowhere, John Rahm just catches lightning in a bottle and goes -4 to get a -6 total and just wins it all. Happy Father's Day. 2 generations, 3 generations of Rahms right there. First Spaniard to win it. I mean, just a whole bunch of really good stuff, right? Unfortunately, I mean, I'm glad John won, but I was really kind of rooting for Mickelson so he could get that career slam out of the way, and did I will say okay within striking distance, and the last 2 days just basically came apart, unfortunately. So anyway, as we like to do, we go to the guy who was the guy who came at the back end of the field. Jimmy Walker shot a +9 to a +19. They tied with Fabian Gomez. Those two ended up at +19. Now, here's a question. Would you rather be at our level? I think I'd just like to be able to shoot +19 on that U.S. Open type of format and the toughness of that course, just to say I was in a U.S. Open, to be honest. But that's just me wanting to do stuff. Okay, so we got that. I've been doing a little quick here. There we go. All right, let's do some comments. Let's go back up to the top. Here we go. So Mrs. McGolf has got 3 questions that she's going to come in here and ask me from behind the camera once she gets this. However, we'll start with here until she shows up. Matt says, shot round 75, 76, 73. Daggone, Matt. Well done, dude. Well done. Why do people hit hybrids better than fairway woods? See you tomorrow. Yep, Matt's coming down. He's getting a little work done. In fact, he's getting a hybrid. So, why do people hit hybrids in a lot of cases better than fairway woods? Well, what is a fairway wood and what is a hybrid? Hybrid is exactly what it is. It's a combination of an iron and a fairway wood. It takes the length of an iron, the uprightness of an iron, but gives you all the forgiveness of a fairway wood. So all those guys that are iron hitters that, chop down, have steep swings, really, really like hybrids, where fairway woods tend to be a little bit longer, and by nature of being longer, they have to be flatter. Okay, so guys that don't necessarily have a flatter swing don't necessarily like fairway woods. What's he doing? My dog made it in here. The other one's over there, and yep. So with the more upright swing, the shorter the club, it's easier to hit. All these different things make it easier to hit. Now, does that mean everybody can hit it? Not even close, because there are the folks that have the flat swings and can use fairway woods pretty good, but the length might pose a problem because they're longer. Now, hybrids are starting to come in so many varieties now that you can find some that are flatter that might actually fit into your swing plane. So don't just give up on it just yet. But honestly, if you're flatter, you're probably going to be a fairway wood person. All right. Big Al, he's ready and waiting. All right. So let's see. We got Mrs. McGolf here. She's ready to read us something. What's going on? Jeff from Iowa.
Is there data to support that forged irons hold up groove sharpness better than cast clubs? A friend mentioned this the other day, and I had never heard. Important for some of us who hold on to clubs for a long time, like my McGregor VIP 1025Cs.
Ooh, McGregor 1025s. Okay, so the question is, does a forged club stay sharper than a cast club in the groove range? If you just look at the metal, right? So there's a couple of things that's going to happen. One is the environment that you play in. If you're playing totally in Iowa, where you truly have good soil and that kind of stuff, wear from sand and those kind of things are probably not going to be one of your, big contributors to groove wear. But as a whole, forged clubs are softer, and they're softer by design. They're softer so that they can be mashed in a forged pressing kind of situation, where cast clubs use a harder metal, and they are a liquid that are poured into a mold, and they're firmer in order to last longer. So unless the grooves are not as deep, which they shouldn't be too much difference, it would be my opinion that the cast clubs would actually last longer. So hopefully that helps out. All right, next one.
Next one. This was from Facebook.
A Facebook question.
I know that when you put a left-handed adapter and a right-handed head, the loft adjustments are reversed. +1 up, -2 down becomes a -1 down, +2 up. Would the upright positions become flat positions?
Okay, so the question is that if you put a lefty adapter into a righty club, that traditionally what happens, and I can speak to Callaway, is that the neutral and the neutral standard, wherever the neutral is, will always be neutral. Okay, the other side, however, everything else is reversed. So if you turn it around, it would be just 180 of what you think it is. So he's asking me, does the when it goes flatter, does it mean it goes upright? And the answer is yeah. Now this is on most of the other ones, because they're, you know, the way that the adapter goes into the club, it's on an elliptical, right? It's on a tilt, so that club. Here we go. I got one. There's my big boy. Anyway, so what happens is that when you get, it goes in there not necessarily as straight, it's off to the edge, so that when you turn it, it does this. But as it goes up, it goes closed, and as it goes down, it goes open. So you have to be kind of careful about that, and so the opposite would happen. So if you are using the adapter to go up and closed, for using the wrong adapter, it should just go the opposite way. Hopefully that helps. Okay, third one.
Stephen from Panama City.
Panama City.
How can I fit a golf shaft on the head of the driver, since in my region there is no shim for a just shaft? The shaft is smaller than the hole in the head of the driver.
Oh, so he's asking, so basically the question is, if the shaft is very much smaller than the hosel, how do you shim it if you don't have shims? Well, in the day, before the shims were actually shims, people used to take Coke cans, aluminum Coke cans, and they would cut pieces of aluminum to wrap around it if it was enough, or even little slivers to put on the sides. That's one way of doing it. Another that's less likely to cut your fingers up is a couple pieces of fishing line. Right now, it won't align you exactly straight in the club. That's the reason why when you have what you would do is you take a can, you would get yourself a little circle, and then you would cut it off into stars, and then what you would do is you would set that thing in the middle, and then that star would collapse around it, and then that would make it centric to the hosel. But if you don't have that skill set, then what we would do is you just lay a piece of fishing line in the back and then put it in there, and it would absorb that size. Now the real trick there is to make sure you get enough glue around it, and that's what you want to do, is get some glue around it. So hopefully that helps. Got them all? All right, that's from, look at that, the Mrs. McGolf question and answer session right there. All righty, so let's move on. Danny Johnson. All right, since you're a picker of the ball like me, you're able to impart backspin on ball when hitting wedges into the green. I am unable to do it. Any thoughts? Danny, you are correct. You want to take him? So, in order to impact, I don't look to ever draw a ball back. That takes a skill set that even guys that really hit the ball well, it's a skill set. Now, how do I get it to stop, right? And it took a while to figure it out. And it was funny. I was watching a Mickelson video, and what I have done instead, I used to keep my weight 50-50, put the club in the middle of my stance, and try and hit it. And I was under the false impression of trying to scoop it would help. I figured that out was bad right at the very beginning. So then I tried chopping down on it, and I figured that, and that ended up being just as bad because you would hit the chunks. What helped me and helped me get it there the best is starting my weight 60-40 onto the front. So I was really pushing a lot there and still keeping my hands in the middle and then taking that swing. And that swing helped me. I came down upon the ball in order to get it to pop up, because golf is a tremendous game of opposites. So if you want it to go up, you have to hit down. And once I started doing that, it would hit and then a couple of checks and then stop. And so far, that's what I've been doing. Dave, hope you're safe as well. Yes, Rom did great. I thought it was great. Great way to finish, coming back leading after being withdrawn from the Memorial. Yeah, is that not just, I'm telling you, that is one heck of a story. 6 shots in the head of the Memorial. The dude's on fire, gets told he's got, he might have been part of the, somebody had COVID. Turned out he didn't even get sick. Nobody in the family got sick. Hopefully he got a shot so he doesn't run into that anymore. And now he had basically had some time to practice and came back with a vengeance. So good for him. Good for him. Ray Farrell, SoCal. Well done, buddy. In your opinion, who could benefit from a shorter driver shaft or the TM Mini driver that Phil put in play, even the 219,000 sub 44, I think? Ray, well, as a whole, just about everybody could benefit from a shorter driver, okay? Now, anywhere, again, a while back, I did some testing, and I fit everybody from an NBA guy to a short little lady, and it was like 300 fittings. And the average length that worked the best for distance and control was 44.5. Now, talking with some guys on the tour that run those tour vans, 44.5 to 44.75 is very much about the same length that a lot of those guys use. Just because it has the same paint job doesn't mean it's what you pull off the rack, right? And, those guys swing very, very well. But what it's really about is quality of hit, the absolute quality of hit. And if you can get a good quality of hit with a shorter driver, it will certainly outdo anything a longer driver you can hit that's hitting poorly. So yeah, I would look at getting, go through a fitting, find the right length. That's number one in our book, and that drives quality of hit. And when you're striking it well, then you can really make some good change. Mike Pett from Buffalo purchased a Mizuno STZ 3-wood stock Motori 7S. You are a monster, dude. Love the club. Yeah. That was the one that the guys on TXG, right? Matt, the dude that, the dude swings, the dude looks so smooth when he hits. And now I'm just starting to watch his swing enough where I can pick up when he's really, really trying to get after one and when he's trying to lay back. But he just absolutely thought that was a wonderful club. Glad you like it. Hope I'll just put a Maltby ST2 in play and loving it. Best driven in a while. Well, good. I thought I hit it pretty good when we tested it. It just wasn't going to be a distance killer as far as comparing to all the rest of them, but I did keep it in play pretty good. Mr. John from South Carolina, how are you, sir? Camilio, no rounds until tomorrow. All righty. Well, at least you're getting a round in. Question for today. I've been fitted into a KBS Tour 110 stiff shaft for irons. Good. How are the criteria to select a shaft for a driving iron? Well, that one's a little bit different, dude, but I would stay somewhere in a driving iron. So typically in a driving iron, what you're looking at is, we'll use Jordan Spieth as an example. You know, you go into the graphite design, that orange AD shaft is a real plus for a lot of folks, particularly if you're swinging stiff. It will be a little bit on the upper inside, but it does work. And what I would be looking for is maybe something in the 100-gram range-ish, still and stiff, to allow you to have a little bit, easier time swinging the club. Sometimes even a hybrid shaft in that, maybe even in the 80 to 90 gram hybrid shaft would work just as well. Mr. Bartholomew, how are you, sir? There we are. Salute. We had 4 days of rain, and then we had 3 days of nothing but sun, so it was miserable for 2 days with all the humidity. And yesterday was kind of thick, and today the rain came in and it's cooled everything down, but now it's raining. It was supposed to rain for like 4 hours in a row, and we had about an hour's worth of rain. The storm came in. I thought, oh, we're done. Now I'm looking out there, and now it's coming down in buckets again. Just can't just can't. There you go, Camilio. That's it, bud. You are right on the money. If someone has, Dave, someone has a very inside takeaway, very long overswing due to collapsing both arms and almost vertical downswing, any advice on fitting them for a driver shaft? Well, so number one, Dave, it is part of fittings. Remember, we always talk about this. Fitting is just not letting a guy, just trying to find the right hammer to fill in this guy's hand. If he's not using the hammer correctly, then we got to kind of educate him into the swing. Now, it doesn't mean you become a swing professional, but if it is something that is really, really, really off, you're doing the golfer a favor by showing them that, hey, there's a different way of swinging this golf club and getting more out of it. Because if you're going way to the inside, and then you break it in, and then you've got to turn around and you come all the way through thinking you're getting this whipping motion, chances are that's not happening. Now, it's not to say it's not, but the percentages are with me. However, especially when you're coming out here and then you're coming out and you're coming down around, it sounds like there's a bunch of movement in the swing. I would practice having taken it away from themselves and see what happens. You might be surprised what happens with that. But if they're coming down and they're coming around, it'd almost be less stiff than the swing would be in there, and it would actually be shorter because of the downward swing. So 75 mile an hour. That's in the A or a senior flex range as far as I'm concerned, based on what you're telling me. There's Krister. What do you say, buddy? Last night shot a 73 course par. Today was 6 over. Front 9, shot 300 back. Look at you go, getting it back. So you must have recovered. Well done, sir. Glad to hear it. Travis from Jersey. Like to see a demo on how to use a grip plug that allows you to get rattles out of shafts. A grip plug that allows you to get rattles out of shafts. Well, Travis, honestly, if I've got a rattle in a shaft and it's moving up and down, typically I just take the grip off. Just take the grip off, shake it out, put a new one on. I don't, with the grip plug, so Golf Works made this gizmo as a handle with a basically a big old pointer in it, and you could open it up and possibly pull something out. But I've never really seen it work well. Now, if I was wanting to add powder down the shaft or something along that lines, yeah. But to take something out, I've not really seen that. Now, if you're just not seen it come through there before. It'd be something to look into. I have gotten a couple of requests for how to build up the bottom hand on a grip and putting a grip on. And I just got, I'm looking at it, it's a box right there from Auburn, Indiana, right? Auburn, Indiana. I'm putting on some grips with ribs in them, and so that'll probably end up being and Auburn, Indiana, for you guys that aren't car buffs, home for the Auburn car, Duesenberg, that kind of stuff. Wonderful cars, but it's in Indiana. Something to change out if you're one of those. If you're a car nut. Alrighty. Danny Freeman, having putting woes. What do you think about lab putters? I just really need to practice, which is nobody dedicates much time to. Danny, you would be correct, right? Putting is not. It doesn't have any ego to it. You can't show off by hitting a putt by the next guy because it's got to go in the hole. Unfortunately, that's where it costs you most of your strokes, and we all need to do that. My putting was horrendous. It still is. But, Matt, you'll like this one if you're listening. I found a Model 5 right-handed that I just took up, and I lit up the putting green. Just lit it up. And Robin and my dad said, well, why don't you take it with you? So I did. So I had a left-handed and a right-handed putter. And so what I did is I putted left-handed on the front nine, and I putted right-handed on the back nine, and I didn't three-putt either side. Right? Didn't three-putt either side, which is crazy. So that I don't know what that means quite yet, but I'm still looking into it. So, but lab putters, Danny, lab putters are very, if you don't have a monster screen door type of swing where you're arcing really bad, right? If you're not arcing, they will certainly help you out because it is what I would call target line balance. It just wants to go straight back, straight forward for sure. And then if you get that grip, that special grip that comes with it, forces you to press it forward. So yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it feels. It was pretty good too, but it didn't last very long. Had some friends over, and they took some home with them, and so we didn't have too much left over. Dave, what's the best advice you've been given and can give about playing out of bunkers? This week's U.S. Open showed again just how important that shot is. Well, I will say around here in Appalachia, in the mountains, sand is not a real hazard because most of what we have are waste bunkers. Now, yes, there is some sand to be out there, but honestly, in most cases they do take care of it very, very well. And the one thing that I've always, the guys I play with are great sand players, and they look at me like, how come I can't do it? But the biggest thing is don't be afraid to use the bounce of the club, and don't be afraid to take a bunch of sand. And the reality of it is that if you go to your local golf course and they have an actual sand bunker to practice out of, try it. You're going to have to get a feel for it. It's not just something you walk up in the middle of 18 holes and go, geez, I got to hit one out of the sand. You actually got to practice that shot. And if there's a course that has enough sand, then you might want to practice it a few times before getting out there. Particularly, I ran into a golf course at Myrtle Beach, had some crazy number of like 180 sand traps on the course, and they were just littered everywhere. And I got around 12 holes, and I thought, man, I didn't hit one sand trap. Well, I made up for it in the last 6, let me tell you. And but you had to just, after about the 4th hole, I was like, hey, okay, let's do this. And I was aiming for the sand because I knew how to get out of it. All right, Willard, redoing a driver for my brother. Don't have any collared ferrules and wondering how important. Can I order some? No problem. I figured about is protecting the shaft from the hosel. So, on a driver for graphite, my opinion is yes, it's important, and yes, for the very reason why you just said. I don't like shear points. right? And that's what collar ferrules are for, is to prevent shear points. And that's if there is particularly on graphite, because graphite is weak, right, to an extent. And if you can prevent it, it just gives you a longer lasting club. Now, if you have it on steel and the thing will take a collared ferrule, is it absolutely necessary? At that particular point, I would say no, and that has a lot to do with the with the materials. Boys coming down, you can just hear it now. There's my buddy Joe. Congrats to MCGOLF on your recent award. Got 2 questions for you. How are you liking the DP420 second smash factor? When did that term first come around? When did it become mainstream term in golf? Is there a general chart for smash factor for irons and woods? Well, Joe, that's more than a couple questions, but yeah. So I was going to give you guys an update on the glue, right? When we talked about supply chains, right? And Joe was kind enough to bring me a tube of 420. And by the way, Joe, it's empty, right? I use that thing up. And I am very frugal with that stuff. I didn't use, they come with this, so this DP420 and there's a DP810. The DP810 is a very fast reacting, it's called quickset, where this one goes a little bit longer. And they come with this tube, it's about this long, and it screws onto the top of the actual tube of epoxy, and you squeeze it out, and it automatically mixes, and so what it comes out is the final product. Well, unfortunately, it's a one-use item, and there's that much in there. And this stuff is, well, the last bit that I bought was $50 a tube, which was totally expensive. And so I am very frugal with it, and I've kind of calibrated my grip in my dispensing, and then I swirled around like I normally do for most epoxy. Anyway, I am absolutely positively digging the 420. It is specifically made for golf clubs, and I will be getting more. However, and Mrs. McGolf can attest, back months ago when all this issue started, I had no idea 420 existed. And so I was searching out 810, and I found a couple of places that sold 810, and it finally showed up, and they had to stay with the agreed price of selling. So I got 5 tubes at under $25 and another 5 tubes at under $30, which is half the going rate right now, and in some cases about $10 less than the going rate. So I'm going to use some 810 for a while, and then hopefully by that time the 420 will have made it back, because I went looking for 420. It's still very, very hard to find. So I'm kind of glad of what I got. So I've got plenty. I've got 5 tubes of 420 and 10 tubes of 810, so I'm ready. All right. Robin, did you get your share of the brisket? Of course she got her share of the brisket, man. Are you kidding me? All right, there's Tim. He needs one. Or Mrs. McGolf will certainly take care of you. And thank you for showing up on Facebook, Tim. Dan Roach. I ordered a set of Callaway DCB irons with the MMT shafts on April 28th and still waiting on the ship. Was told Callaway would be end of the month. Yeehaw. I don't know if it's a shaft thing or if it's I doubt it's a DCB thing, dude. I haven't had, I'd have to ask Mrs. McGolf, but we haven't experienced that long of a wait ever. All right, now the only thing I would assume is that it's in the shafts. Now the reason being is the shaft market, not necessarily the head market, but the shaft market is what's being impacted, and a lot in the graphite. And I've heard from other graphite companies that they are now quoting as a date back into shipment of 2022. So be careful when you're out there. So be prepared to be given an alternate if necessary. Like a ball marker in gray. There you go, Miss McGolf. You will be busy. Paul, how are you, sir? Hopefully the physical therapy is going well. Yeah, it says you're working hard on the physical therapist. You know, if you break down therapist, it comes out the rapist. Did you know that? I told him I'm a golfer, so we're working on a draw bias. Well, hopefully they put that in there for you, partner. Give you a little turn on that one, and you'll be surprised once you decide to start trusting that thing. It will be a freedom that you've never had before. So very well done. So very well done. And just tell Miss McGolf what kind of color you're looking at, and you're on board. Oh, Type R Golf. How you doing, bud? You received my clubs today. Oh, okay. I think we'll have to, or if that's the blades. Right, Miss McGolf has got me lined up. She doesn't tell me the name. She just tells me what to build. Alrighty. There's Matt. Congrats on the award. Yeah, we think that, that when we got the first award went out in 2011, so this is 10 years in the making. They were going every other year for the longest while. And in 2011, they called me and they said, "Here, fill out this paperwork." And I'm like, "Why?" And they said, "Just do it." So it was a page of questions. And I said, "Well, how deep do you want me to answer that?" And they said, "So that we understand." Like, well, that one page of questions turned into 8 to 10 pages of answers, and next thing you know, I'm getting a plaque. I'm like, "Oh, look at that! That's kind of cool," and that's what spurred the whole. When you see the most awarded club maker, club fitter, along with my other awards, these, having these every year has been very, very wonderful, and we've had folks in the industry putting our name in the hat for them too. So that's always been great. So it's been we're completely honored that we're on this list because there's some really good club makers on that list. Well, Adam, I can't wait for you either. It turned out real good, man. And oh, by the way, Kent, if you're on here looking, I don't see anybody from the other than Dave from the other side. He asked me about a green dot on the Callaway adapter, right, on those cogs, the green dot. If you guys remember 2 weeks ago, he asked me about that. Well, I figured it out, and Adam helped me out. He showed up with one. So a regular adapter will have a standard, a neutral, a draw, a +1, a +2, and a -1. All right. The green cog has a standard, a neutral, a +1, a -1, and a -2. So it has a -2 on it. So you can go the other way with it. So that's what the green one's there. So there we go. There you go. Thank you, Dan. Hopefully you're doing well. How's that test going? Hopefully you're getting on board with it. And it looks like the PGA show is going to be a real deal. So if you put January at the end of your on your vacation trip, if you want to make it across the pond, and beers on me. Color background. You like that, Dan? I had it in green, and then with the new green shirt. Got a new green shirt. Callaway. Let's see how we do this. There's the one in here. There it is. Callaway. And look at that. I got a little McGolf action on that. So for guys that like big and tall, so far my vote's for Callaway. They have not disappointed yet. Al Burnett from the Space Coast. Harlan, what's going on, man? What's the easiest way to hand finish ferrules so that they are flush with the hosel? Two things, bud. So we'll use this. Number one, you got to put it in some way to grip it, right? Then what you would do, if this is the ferrule, I would put tape around the outside and on the ferrule. And then what I would do is find you some emery cloth. Emery cloth is a very high numbered grit, right? So it's fine. And shoe shine it, right? Shoe shine it. You get it, and then turn the club, shoe shine it. Turn the club, shoe shine it. And what will give it away is the tape. You'll start scuffing the tape and stop, right? When you're done at that particular point, then take acetone on a piece of paper towel, make sure it's very, very wet, and rub it up and down 90 degrees from the way that you sanded it, and that will take out all those marks and smooth it out and give it something very, very shiny. And at that also point with that, the acetone is a chemical base that melts that plastic, and it should take you the rest of the way down. And then finish it off with some car wax, and then you really got it going on. Whoop. Do it at least once a time frame here. All right. Wouldn't that be nice? Be able to talk to all those folks on the Golf Channel. Oh my goodness. Russell, how are you, sir? The picture's changed a little bit. Hopefully everything's going well. Talk about an oddball club fit. I hit a driver close to 300 yards here in muggy Memphis and just put a 11 wood in my bag. Well, you know what, Chris, if you're digging on the 11 wood, you'd probably take out a, taking out a 4-iron, 5-iron, easy. And if you're swinging and you're hitting it well, more power to you. You know, that's always been, out of most folks, when I'm seeing, even guys with higher swing speeds, that 5-iron is that make-break point, which used to be the 4-iron, sometimes the 3, right? Because, you know, Trevino said, you know, God had a hard time hitting a 2-iron. Anyway, that 5-iron is getting to where that's at now. And if you can figure out a way to be as consistent with the same distance with something else, then have at it, right? Have at it. Thoughts on driver length? Longer to hit it further or cut it down for down the middle or face contact? So Dan, we talked about this just a tad, and what I would say is cut it down to the right length so you can hit it further and find the middle of the fairway, both. Why give up one for the other when you can get both? All right, did the testing, got proof in the pudding, where longest and straightest, 44.5. Longest and straightest. From there, it's a give up. You want to hit a little bit further, one or the other. And it depends on the person, but this is on average, right? This is on average. And you can get in there and you can hit it through there. And, you know, because when you're off that 1/4 of an inch, just this quarter, that's not even quarter, there, 1/4 of an inch. If you're off that 1/4 of an inch, that can cost you somewhere in the vicinity of 10 yards. And there's no amount of length that you can add to get that back, right? So as long as you have the right fit to give you the highest quality of hit, the highest smash factor. And that was the other part. I didn't do that. I left Joe out in the woods on that one. Smash factor, right? Smash factor. So smash factor is the ratio between the ball speed and the club head speed. And that tells you how well you hit it based on your swing speed. So if it comes off faster, you've hit it better, right? And smash factor actually came out with, I'm going to say it actually came out with either Flight Scope or TrackMan. And I believe they both use it, and because they both track it very well. And that's where that term came from. And that's easily 10 to 12 years ago. Now going mainstream, I think what we're seeing is that most golfers are starting to get more educated, and they're seeing they're seeing this stuff pop up onto the screen and how well they hit it. I've noted, if you notice on a lot of the other, even like TXG, it's not something that they promote, but they can see on the head where they hit. So it's a give and take. All right, if you could play any 3 holes on any course, which would you want to play? Well, Dave, based on the fact that I've not done it yet, I would probably play 3 holes on the old course.
Show the holes at the end. Somebody wants to see them again.
Okay. I would play the old course again, only because I've been there, I saw it, it's magnificent. I just wish I would have gotten onto it. I played around it, and it's just, how can you not want to play there? If I had to stay in the States, I would probably, Pebble Beach comes to mind. I wouldn't mind playing that. The Sawgrass is another place I wouldn't mind going, and go from there. Harlan, what we got now? Here we go. Currently have a 60-degree wedge with a 120 steel. I only hit half shots max. Well done, sir. You shouldn't go any much more than that. Considering an 85-gram 8-iron shaft that will match my set. Thoughts? Well, depends on what kind of swinger that you are. The half shots, I am all about it. Congratulations. That's an awesome shot. Personal opinion again, your sand wedge and your lob wedge are primarily going to be half swings anyway, because they're finesse shots, so we'll keep them there. If you're hitting an 85-gram iron shaft in your current set, I would think 120 is far too much. That you go from a nice even set sledgehammers, and I wouldn't necessarily like that. However, I would like it to be a little heavier than your standard iron. And what I would be looking for is something in the 95 to 100 gram range, and then using a wedge shaft for that. Now, I know where you're getting at, this 8-iron shaft. That used to be the trick of the trade, where you made spinners out of them, right? And the spinner shaft was a phenomenal rifle shaft that was for wedges, and people really liked them. And for those of us that were advanced rifle centers, we were taught how to make them. Well, the leak has gotten out, and everybody now knows how to do that. Well, and that's where you're getting to that. When you're talking about a 60-degree wedge, Harlan, that's a little bit much. It's probably a little too much, as a matter of fact. So what I'd probably go back and look for something that 95 to 100, and also the other thing is 95 to 100 in the next. If you're looking to do this, let's go back again. If you're looking to do this, it's the 85-gram iron shaft in the next flex up. All right, not the same shaft. The next flex up. There's the pro tip of the day. So if nothing else, I would look at the 95 to 100 gram shaft, maybe a wedge, and you will probably like that better. Hornsey UK, Don Golfnut, how are you, sir? Hopefully everything's doing good. They've let everybody out in the UK, right? I haven't heard anybody complaining or talking or anything, so I'm kind of. And the guys, Finch and Shields, are out there making videos like they're going crazy. So I'm assuming, and it looks like Finch is playing some tournaments. So good for him. So it looks like you guys are out. I'm glad to see that. Brandon from Northern Ireland. I was wondering if the UK folks and the Ireland folks and the Scotland folks and the Sweden folks were going to show up. We've had some. Glad to see you back, sir. How's the game? David, what do we say? Would you fit a driver shaft flex mostly based on swing speed? How about excessive spin loft, say 20 plus spin loft, attack angle, smash factor, 2K spin rate considering a new shaft? Well, David, swing speed is certainly a consideration, but also transition, right? And transition is here. How hard are we pulling here, or how soft? And then at the releasing, how are you releasing? 3 very important things, and you start kind of an average and work your way back to see where the type of profile would help you out. Also, I would also, again, it seems to be the seems to be the thing of the day, is check the driver length too. It may be causing some of that issue. A 145 smash factor is very, very good, but there is room, right? And if we're looking to do a little bit better, I would get that. On the loft angle, that is up. And 2K spin, depending on how much if you really only have 2K spin, unless you're swinging very, very slow, that's actually pretty good. All right, so I wouldn't say that that's bad. right? Now, if you're swinging something around 120 mile an hour, you know, the lower 2000s is where you'd want to be versus the higher 2000. And that could be changed by the golf ball, all right? Uh, the X ball or the L or low spin type balls, I would look at something like that. And you know, I have 105 mile an hour swing speed, and but I am a spinner of the ball myself. But mine is a down. I have like a 1 degree down, 2 degree down, and then every once in a while it goes to negative. But pure, for the most part, it's down. I create a lot of spin. And Callaway sent me some Chrome Soft XLS, and I thought I got no business with this. And I didn't initially like the feel because we were playing in the cold and it was very, very hard. Once I got into the normal weather, these things are great. I like them. They help me unspin, and that's what I like about them. Broken shoulder. Oh, nephew got screwed out of driver head 6 more weeks. Can use the with a broken shoulder. Ow, Kurt. Well, hopefully you're not the one with the broken shoulder, and whoever has it, hopefully you healed up well. Let's, positive thoughts your way, bud. That is broken shoulder. Oh my goodness. How do you do that? Alrighty. So what do we got here? There we go. Mr. McGolf is answering. There's Adam. Robin's answering. Hi, Joe. There's Patrick digging the logo, even from Wisconsin. Well done, sir. There's Penny. She came on there. That's Bob. See the other guy right there? That's Bob. That's my buddy Bob, the putter guy Bob. Oh, Bob, if you're listening, we did get the response back for the courses, and we got everything that we picked. If you want it, Robin said she was going to call you tomorrow with the number, and it turned out to be a pretty good number, by the way. So we have a vacation scheduled to Myrtle Beach, and we're going to go play some pretty decent golf courses. So hopefully that'll do good. All right, I have removed shafts from an old set of TaylorMade RBZs, 3 through the sandwich. Well, good. Now the question is, what are you going to put it back in them? Matthew O'Malley. There you go. That's not an Irish name. I don't know what is. Well done, sir. Thank you, Matthew. We're one of we call them top 100, basically, is what we're calling it. Club Fitter of the Year amongst, so there's at least 99 of us that are really, or 99 other guys that are doing very, very well also. There you go, Maine. I was wondering how that was going to go. Did you golf until your hands fell off, or how'd that work out? Christopher, I have a Callaway Big Bertha Epic that has developed a small rattle. Any way to fix this, or is the head just junk? Depends on how it's rattling, Christopher. I've ran into this with some of the Epics, and I have found that the weights were loose. And so take your wrench, tighten the head down onto the shaft, tighten the weights, tighten the slider, whatever. Just tighten it and see if that gives it away, right? And then the second thing I would do is look for some cracks. I doubt if you've got a rattle, I doubt it's a crack, but the rattle is typically where that comes from. And try that first. And then if it's still showing up, give Callaway a call. They might be able to help you. Oh, look at that. I'm getting the call. I'm getting the motion. You're putting on grips with ribs like a wooden skewer looking things. Good luck. Those suck. No, Patrick, I think I've done those. Well, actually, there's these plastic ones now. If you've seen them, Golfworks has some plastic ones. And I've done those before. Those work really, really good, right? The plastic or the metal skewers, yeah, not so much fun. They're not very much fun at all. But these already have them in it. And so we're going to align them. The biggest thing is the alignment. And that's what we're going to be looking for. From Ironton. All right. Now live in Charlotte. Well, Ironton's not too very far away. And if you're really from Ironton, then you'll know what I mean. All right. 10 questions. I have 10 new shafts, uncut DG 300s, and a chart for cutting. 3.7 without known swing weight. What do you recommend? I'm a 12 handicapper. If these are going into those other clubs that you were talking about and you have an S300, the trimming instructions for DGs are actually pretty straightforward and they're actually pretty good. What they will do is when you get done, your shaft flex typically ends up in the very middle of the stiff range, the very middle. So if you're a guy that needs to be in the middle of a stiff range, then trim it as you see. If you want to go a little bit lower, a little bit higher, a little bit lower in the range, trim about 1/4 of an inch less. If you want to go higher, about 1/4 inch more, and you'll be in pretty good shape. But yeah, the one thing that DG really has going for them is that they've got a lot of information on their trim codes, and they know exactly what they're doing. All right, sand traps. Got them here. Yeah, I know, right? Those things are everywhere. All right, we're getting close to the end. The old weight is still in the 7-iron head. Do I leave it or do I remove it before fitting a new shaft? I would remove it. And the reason why I would remove it is because it's going to be really hard to clean out the hosel. Again, epoxy likes clinging to things that are rough, not things that are loose. And as you put that stuff in there, all it's going to do is give you a barrier for things to not grab, right? You need it to grab. And that's what you need. So yeah, take it out, clean it out, and then if it's still in good shape, put it back in. Renee on Jersey Shore, exit 74. Jersey Shore 74. Yeah, I know, I just said it. I'm sorry. Well, good thing. Glad you're watching. Well, in Maine, golf trip, golfing buddies, Callaway came off. Ooh. Went to a local hardware store, picked up some 2-part epoxy. Well, 2,500 PSI is pretty impressive. It'll probably stay on there. Yep, hopefully I got it, Joe. Okay. Jerry got fitted for some new clubs, Mavericks, and they will be there soon. They should be. They weren't having too many problems with that one. Okay, here we go. A couple more, and then we have to have at it. Charles says, you're good on the, thank you. Had to write a thesis to get it, huh? Yeah. Each and every time, as a matter of fact, they keep asking me different sets of questions, and I have to keep answering them. I pretty much have an encyclopedia now, I think. There's only God and Nicholas can hit a 1-iron. You would be correct, sir. Ah, John wants to see the divot tools. Okay, divot tools, here they come. Red one. Turn this around. There we go, divot tool. Red one. That comes off. And with the pencil sharpener at the end. Got a red one. Got a gray one. Got a green one. And got a black one. And they all do the same thing. Right? And that comes out. So, and it's a smooth rubber that I think gets grippier with time. Alrighty, so we got that one. All right. They're all out now. Well done. Glad to see that. Chad Lewis, what's going on, sir? Kurt slipped in the driveway. Oh, no. Well, heal up, bud. Heal up good. Robbie from Auburn, Indiana. Well, we're going to be doing, you're going to see some of that. We're going to try and get you through there. And I'm going to give you kudos on the boxing, man. We haven't seen one like that before. You did really, really well. Alrighty, so we did make it down to the bottom. Okay, so we did. It's only 5 minutes past. That's not too bad. And we're getting ready to call it a night. Guys, again, thanks from all over the world from watching. I appreciate it. I just appreciate it. You have no idea. It's fun to talk to you guys. And thank you for the questions. It actually makes for some really, really good content. Again, if you guys are interested in the divot tools, we've got them, or in the aprons, we still have a few more left. Actually, they're selling quite well, and we'll go from there. Again, watch for the video tomorrow. It'll be on building the CBs, and please like and subscribe, and that way we get more of these as we go forward. And as always, guys, let's see your scores go low.